Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Get that bag.
Good morning, America. Welcome to Flip Man's daily live wholesaling and real estate Q&A, aka Fliptainment. Boom, I got it. That's a lot, ain't it? .com. Hey, so we're here on TikTok, Instagram. We ain't got the iPad out so I can see myself. TikTok, is the ticker going? Okay. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope. And I don't have the mics up to my thing, so we're all over the place. So let's get it. Oh, before we go, if you want a copy of the free contract that I've been using since 2003, YouTube search Flipman 2021 contract. You need a cash buyer, you want a joint venture with me. It needs to be under contract. You need to be dealing directly with the owner. It needs to be a great deal and needs to be off market. And my definition of off market is if I Google the address, it is not advertised for sale anywhere. Okay, so let's get it. Now, you can join us and ask your questions live here on YouTube. If you go to flippanard.com, you'll see the red button that says join us live. You also can access, someone put together a playlist trying to organize my videos. I think they did a pretty good job of it. You can go there and access that playlist to sort of give my video somewhat of a structure or a step-by-step approach as close as possible. So let's get it. Good morning, good morning, good morning, depending on where you are. It's just gonna be blur on this camera here. Ain't really nothing we can do about it. You can go to Instagram after this over and you can see it or whatever. I don't know, it looked like I could see it when we put it up before. Is it too close or? I'm talking about this.
I think it's fine.
Okay, just depending upon their device. It might be your device.
All right, somebody asked, and this is Luigi from YouTube. How do you calculate offer for land?
Offer for land? Why we get that question every day? Land is different because it's just so hard to come up with a value in a lot of cases. I would start with the market value that the county assesses it for. That's normally, that doesn't guarantee to be right, but that's a lot of times that's the only thing you're gonna have to go with. And I'll probably try to get it at 20 cents on the dollar from there. Hopefully I can find a buyer. Let me get this other iPad. Go ahead.
All right, someone said, good morning, Flipman. Where can I find friendly title companies or?
You're gonna hit invite, copy, and then here send it to that, and then it'll come up there. Say that again.
All right, it said, good morning, Flipman. Where can I, hold on. All right, someone said, good morning, Flipman. Where can I find friendly title companies or attorneys in Birmingham and or Tuscaloosa?
Well, in any market, I'm not just going to, well, I can't, I guess it doesn't matter. You can contact Jeff Palmer as attorney. He's wholesaler friendly, and Rely Title. Both of those are wholesaler friendly. But in any market, if you're not sure about a title company or closing attorney, just go to, same person or different? Okay, just go to, you got it. All right. Go to, you want to mute it and turn the camera off when you get in, when you enter. So go ahead and say yeah, but when you get in there, you want to mute it and turn the camera off, and then you have to turn the volume down. Yeah. All right. So you can go to my Facebook group, Wholesaling Real Estate with the Flip Man. Join, and then post your question. What title company or what closing attorney is wholesaler friendly in whatever city? Well, in this situation, he said Birmingham, but I already told him what I think. And then you can just do the same thing by joining some local real estate groups to that city also to do the same thing. So again, you can join and ask your question live. That makes you, we'll put you to the front of the line. If you go to flippinar.com, Flippinar spelled right here, FLIPPINAR.com, and you can ask your questions live.
All right. What are some things to consider when closing virtually?
The process is going to be basically the same. The biggest issue with closing virtually, if you don't have it, you need boots on the ground, someone that's going to represent your interest. So if you got that, everything else is going to pretty much work the same. So that should be your first objective, is getting someone to represent you. It can be a friend, a family member, another wholesaler, real estate agent, whoever. So.
Okay. How do you quickly estimate repairs?
$25, multiply the square footage by $25 if it's livable, multiply the square footage $40 if it's not livable. That's just a standard. It can get outside of that depending on how detailed or how not so detailed a property is, but those numbers generally work.
All right, this is from P on YouTube. He said, hey, Flip Man, with pre-foreclosure property,
What time is
use the trustee/attorney off of prop stream to make a buy?
He said, say that again.
With pre-foreclosure properties, how should we use the trustee/attorney off of prop stream to make a buy?
Said someone off of YouTube said, how can we use pre-foreclosure properties? How should we use the trustee, attorney, or prop stream to make a buy? If you're trying to purchase the property, you can reach out to the attorney and let them know you're interested in buying it before the auction date. That doesn't mean they're going to respond or whatever, but sometimes they're hard to get on the phone from my experience. But that's what you have to do. Just try to communicate to them. If you got the cash, you want to buy it or whatever, they'll probably give you the number that the lender was willing to accept. You go from there. And that's going to vary from state to state. I don't know if that's possible everywhere. So.
All right, this is from Joseph from YouTube. He said, how do you deal with a buyer who keeps asking for the assignment fee?
Joseph from YouTube said, how do you deal with a buyer who keeps asking for the assignment fee? The reason I'm reading this over because YouTube people can't hear them asking the questions. Keeps asking for the assignment fee. I mean, I guess he means how much is he going to make? If that's what you're saying, that's not a buyer that I want to deal with. Does the price work for them that they agreed upon? That's all should matter. Oh, somebody want to get in? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, so we got Kurt. You have to say Kurt Romney. I'm about to add him to the stream.
Yeah, you want to remove the question. You want to remove the banner. You can leave the ticker up. I think you can leave the banner up. You can leave that banner up. I think you can leave it. Just go ahead.
He X'd out.
Oh, you X'd out? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, somebody tried to go on live with us, but, that's fine. All right. Go to flippinar.com if you want to move to the front of the line.
Someone asked,
how do I get paid as a wholesaler? How do you get paid as a wholesaler is the question. Well, you need a motivated seller under contract. You need a cash buyer in the contract at a higher price than that first contract. And you get the difference via an assignment fee once you close on it with a title company or closing attorney. A little more detailed than that, but I think I answered the question. Hopefully that's what he meant.
Someone just got on TikTok. They asked,
what is this? Good question, TikTok. This is about making money in real estate, starting with $0. First thing I know you say, it's scam. Ain't nobody asking for nothing. Stick around, see if you learn something. Nobody's asking for anything. Stick around and see if you learn anything. Maybe you can change your financial situation forever, like a lot of people have done, such as myself.
All right. Someone asked if a buyer submits the earnest money deposit and during the 10-day grace period, I'm guessing, and or inspection, they decide to pursue the property within those 10 days, are they entitled to the earnest money back? Earnest money deposit back?
Yeah. I guess they say, okay, someone's basically asking, they said the cash buyer, if they have a 10-day inspection period, if they're outside that 10-day inspection period, are they entitled to the earnest money back if they change their mind?
I'm guessing that's what they're asking.
No, that's part of why the inspection period is what it is. No, that money is gone as long as the clear title can be produced. That's supposed to be yours, regardless of what happens.
Someone said fairly to wholesaling game. To the wholesaling game. Property under contract has pretty disgruntled tenant. How will I allow the buyers to view the property?
Okay, someone's asking, what do they do about a tenant that's a troubled tenant, a disgruntled tenant? Probably not paying, possibly tearing up the property, not making it available to access. Well, the thing that I would do in that situation, and I've done it, is that you got to get them out of there. So I would probably send them something, UPS or FedEx, letting them know who I am. We're going to be buying the property, and we're willing to pay them to leave. And let them know you're gonna have to leave legally. Why not get paid to leave? That would be the approach that I would take on it. Now, in return, if you go through all that, you need to get that property really, really cheap, because you're gonna have to have a buyer that's probably gonna want to buy it sight unseen or whatever. And only way that's going to happen is that it's really, really cheap or a really, really great deal. So. How do you find potential leads? Okay, I have a whole YouTube channel that talks about that, right? This is one way. We got this bandit sign. It's all about marketing and advertising, letting people know you exist, letting people that own real estate know you exist. Banner change, please. Letting people know you exist. That's why we talk about those bandit signs. Cold calling, driving for dollars, text messaging, ringless voicemail, Facebook ad, Google ads, other wholesalers, all about lead generation. That's why we talk about that ad nauseum. So.
Someone, I guess they have a property under contract for $65K. House estimate is $79,168. Is this a good deal?
What are the numbers again?
$65K for the house. Estimated $79,000.
Okay, someone said if the ARV is $79,000, meaning what would the house appraise for in excellent condition, and they can get it for $65,000? No, that is not a deal. That is not a deal. Just off the top of my head, 30% is 24. Without knowing the repairs, it's hard to say without knowing the repairs, but 65 definitely won't work. It's not even close.
All right, this is like in the same round of questions. This is from Isaac on YouTube. He said they have a property in South Carolina. The seller wants $15K, and I'm trying to get it for $5K. But there are multiple vacant houses within a 2-block radius. 25K repairs, 60K. Is this a deal worth my time?
Okay, so what were the numbers? I see it here. I have a property in South Carolina, wants $15,000, $15K. I'm trying to get it for $5,000, but there are multiple vacant houses within a 2-block radius. 25K replace 60. Is this a deal worth it? Yeah, if you can get it for $5K, that'll probably be a deal. Maybe even 10. That'll probably be a deal.
All right, let's do another one. This one said it's from Michael Sanders. He said after you calculate the ARV, you just try to get it at a certain percentage on dollar of ARV, such as 60% of ARV, or you try to get it at a certain certain percentage of ARV minus repair.
Okay, Michael is basically asking about the formula. How do you know if you have a great deal or not? I have a calculator on my website, dealulator.com, where is it? Dealulator.com. And that calculator would have said, but the formula basically on that calculator, people do it different ways, is 70% times the ARV. The ARV simply means what will the house appraise for in excellent condition. When it's just fixed up, what will it appraise for? 70% times that minus repairs, minus your fee. So that's where you get into, hey, what do I really need to get it on the contract for with the seller, depending on how much I think I want to make, which, should be flexible on that. So.
All right, Pete is asking, what does it mean when the auction date is passed?
All right, Pete from YouTube is asking, what does it mean when the auction date has passed? Again, the reason I'm repeating this is because the people on YouTube can't hear the question, they can hear me. When the auction date is passed, that means, it's passed. If the auction date was yesterday, today would be, it's passed. It's that simple.
This came from Angela on YouTube. How can I buy a property for cash money without credit and no money? I don't want to do owner finance.
How can I buy a house property for cash money without credit and no money? Wait a minute. How can I buy a house with cash money without credit and no money? I don't want to do owner finance. You can't. If owner financing is not an option on the table and you have no money, even though you say you had cash money, but I get what you're trying to say, and no credit, you can't do it without owner financing. That's it. Those are the options. Either you got the money or credit or owner financing. That's it. Or somebody just give you a property. I guess that's the answer. Good luck with that.
All right, and Alicia and Carl asked, can you wholesale without the earnest money deposit?
All right, Lisa and Carl say, can you wholesale without the earnest money deposit? Technically, yes, you can. You can do deals without earnest money. I just suggest that you don't. You need a remedy. You need a remedy if you don't close on the property, and earnest money is the remedy. They keep your earnest money if you don't find a cash buyer for it.
All right, somebody's asking about text lien houses. Are
Yeah.
you able to wholesale those?
Well, technically you can, because it is somewhat transfer interest. It's possible. You may find someone that may want to do that. It's possible for sure, because you're transferring interest, not more so ownership, but interest.
All right, someone asked, how long have you been in business?
January 2003. Happy birthday.
It's not like that on YouTube. It's like that on YouTube. Let's see. Somebody, Bob Saget, he said, I just got my first property under contract for $11K, and I'm trying to sell the contract for $12K. Do you have any advice?
Okay, Bob Saget said, I just got my first property on the contract for $11K and trying to sell that contract for $12K. Not enough information, Bob. What's the ARV? What are the repairs? You're not asking a lot for earnest money. You're only asking for $1,000. I would try to, again, I can't even tell you if that's a good deal or not. It's not enough information, my man. But I'm going to always side on doing something. A+ for effort. Hopefully you can add another 0 to that 1,000 on that. Listed properties with real estate agents. I just uploaded a video on that yesterday explaining that process. If you got $1,000 earnest money, you got proof of funds, prepared to deal with the agent and them wanting to sell high, you selling low, then yeah, you got the right type of buyer. Yes. Otherwise, I advise newbies to avoid those. If you're asking that question, you need to avoid those, in my opinion.
All right, any examples on when a sale goes wrong?
Oh my God, it's a lot of reasons. You can't find a buyer. You can't find a buyer. The title is bad. Seller changes their minds. You know, it can be any number of reasons. It can go bad, meaning you don't close the deal. It can go south.
Somebody asked a question. Don't you need money to make money?
Well, that needs to be a TikTok. Yeah. So, well, in this business, no, no, that's real, because you can literally build a cash buyers list. There are methods of doing that, and you can wholesale. You can help other wholesalers wholesale their properties. That takes zero. Some people just find properties online, whether it's a listed property, for sale by owner, tired landlords, and if you can set up your timing right, especially with the listed properties, that could be zero. The for sale by owner, same thing, or whatever. Now, ideally, and when we say wholesaling, no money, no cash or credit, now what we really mean is to actually get paid. Like, you don't have to buy the house to get paid. That's what we really mean. Now, as far as finding that great deal, most people spend a few $100s to start to find their first deal, and then in the business fees itself. But again, I just gave you some methods where you don't even have to do that. So yes, you can start with zero. So in this situation, you don't have to spend any money to make money, to answer the question.
All right.
It's possible.
Someone asked, what do you do when a motivated seller will not show you inside of their house?
Sounds like you just got a seller, not a motivated seller. There's no way to evaluate. Yeah, there's no way to evaluate the property without you seeing it. Well, let me back up. It's possible. Sometimes I've driven by property, never even walked inside of them because the price was right. But ideally, it has to be looked at. Even your buyer's going to want to look at. Sounds like you just have a seller. Don't get confused with that word motivated. I don't throw it around lightly. When I say motivated seller, that means they're giving me the price that I want, right? More people are going to want to sell at a price that doesn't make sense for you, right? So those are just sellers. Those are not motivated sellers. Motivated sellers, number one, they're going to get the price that you want. And in most cases, they're going to do some other things that you want them to do, such as looking at the house. I'll be shocked if those numbers work. I would love to hear the numbers on that particular deal.
All right. Someone said, how do you prevent the seller and buyer from paying me after the deal?
That's the purpose of your contract. This right here. This thing right here that I give away for free. You can learn how to use it for sellers and buyers by doing a YouTube search for 2020 contract. Oh, the question was, how do you prevent a seller and buyer from cutting you out the deal? That was the question. And so the contract, now let me say this, it's still possible to get cut out the deal, but you got to have two shady people. The buyer may be shady and try to backdoor you, but the seller know they signed that contract. They know they can get in a legal situation if they sign a contract with you and a seller. Most people know that. Most people are reasonable. So the likelihood of you having two shady people is not likely. Now, what could happen is that cash buyer that's trying to be shady and go around you could blow up your deal. That's different than them trying to go around you. But the buyer might not want to deal with either one of you all or whatever. That's different. So, but it's possible. It just didn't happen that often.
All right. We got a bunch of people on YouTube. Somebody said they got 2 appointments later today.
Hello, YouTube. She's saying everybody a lot of people saying hello on YouTube. Good. 2 appointments. Good. Hope you put both of them in the contract to find buyers for you. Or if you need buyers, hey, we'll be happy to. Home Express Investment says, how do you comp mobile homes? Very difficult to do somewhat because mobile homes are like automobiles, but there's no, well, it may be one, but like you have a Kelley Blue Book, and then you have Edmunds, they can tell you the value of an automobile depending on the year, but mobile homes are evaluated the same way. The only thing changes if land comes with it, then the land is where the transaction will happen. But to answer the question, what you can do is, just reach out to mobile home dealers within your state or within that local market where the mobile home may be located, and just call them and ask them, number one, do they buy used mobile homes, right? If they do, then you just give them the specs. This is a 1976 Vanderbilt. Give them the size, the number of beds and bath, and what you think is in fair condition, good condition, or needs a lot of renovations. And they'll probably tell you, hey, then they're going to probably want to know where it is because that's a cost to move it or whatever. And so they'll probably give you a number on what they would buy it for. You call around 2 or 3 of them. You come up with an idea. Now you know what you need to go negotiate so you can make money. So.
This one is from Uncle Luke on YouTube. He said, I'm in the Charlotte market. I feel like too many owners know the value of their home. And I'm willing to hold out because of the long situation. I don't know if I'm overthinking it or should it go virtual.
All right, Uncle Loop, banner change, please. Uncle Loop. Uncle Loop is asking, he's in Charlotte. He thinks owners know the value of the homes and willing to hold out because it's a long saturation. I don't know if I'm overthinking it. Should I go virtual? No, man, you're in a decent sized, a mid-sized market. A couple of million people there. What are you doing to generate leads? Number one, that I have to always ask that question. How many sellers are you talking to per day? Lower your expectations. You're not going through anything different than what I go through. We have to talk to a lot of people. We have to talk to a lot of people to get one deal. You know what I'm saying? We have to talk to a lot of people that want to sell to get the one deal. When I say a lot of people, 25 to 30 people we have to talk to that want to sell, not just people we talk to that want to sell. So, so are you even reaching any of those numbers? The people still die in Charlotte. They still get divorced. You're still going to have tired landlords. You're still going to have properties that need too many repairs. You're still going to have death, which people inherit properties. People are relocating, job loss, income loss, medical bills. I think you get the picture. Just life creates motivated sellers. Your job as a wholesaler is making sure you're doing an effective job of letting people know you exist, and the numbers will just play out. It's called marketing and advertising. Walmart is $1 trillion company, and they spend billions on advertising. People would probably still go to Walmart, and they could probably still be profitable without marketing, but they don't. They spend billions of dollars to make sure they can continue to maintain, but also grow. So if that company that's worth $1 trillion in marketing and advertising, what do you think you need to do if you're a small business? Same thing.
All right. 6465 said, how much do you spend on a month basis on marketing?
I've been approaching 10 grand. I ain't a good example. I've been doing it a long time. At least 10.
And then he also asked, how many people should I talk to a week?
A day. Well, I can do it in a week. If you simple math, if you want to do 3 to 5 deals a month, you need to be talking to 3 to 5 people per day that want to sell, not just people that want to sell. That's simple, So that's what 21 to 35 people a week.
All right. Should I be putting up signs on poles or in the yard?
Well, if you go to YouTube and do a search for Flipman ride along bandit signs, that video shows you how I do it. I use cable ties. I don't do either of the one that you're talking about. If you go watch that video, Flipman ride along bandit signs, that video will explain. Someone asked, how do they put out bandit signs? Should they use poles or sticking them in the ground? For you YouTubers that can't hear the questions.
All right, this was from Angela. She said, do you know any hard-money lenders that do owner occupancy?
No, I don't. They don't get into that. No.
All right, this one says, what are the best channels to get leads for a new person getting into wholesale?
Yeah, sort of. And someone asked, what's the best way to find deals? Sort of answered that question a little earlier. You can go back and watch the replay. The replay of this is on Instagram and YouTube after this is pretty much over. So you can go watch the post on Instagram. I guess it'll be an IGTV post, and on YouTube you'll see the banner for today's date. Well, ideally, you can go up to a mile, just using the service that I use, Dealulator.com, aka PropStream. And his question was, what's a good distance to look for comps when you're trying to find ARV? Was his question. A half a mile is ideal. And see, the closer you get to your property, the more accurate the comps are going to be. Now, sometimes that's not an option. You really don't want to cross over main streets. And on most maps, the main streets are the thicker white lines or thicker yellow lines, depending on whatever map service or site you're using or whatever. Ideally, you want to stay within those boundaries when you're looking at comps, but sometimes it's not an option. But also, that's a red flag that it may be difficult to find a buyer if you're not finding any comps. Also, but to answer this question, you can go up to a mile, but ideally, like I said, a half a mile or less.
Janai said, I have a list of motivated sellers. Should I email or text them? I mean, should I email instead of cold call?
I guess you got phone number, you can cold call. Text messaging is better than both of those. But out of those two, cold calling would be better, just to answer the question. If you're not sure about how to do the text part of it, go to YouTube and do a search for text to flip. And the question was, he said he had a list of motivated sellers. Can he email instead of cold calling them? That was the question. You can email, if you got the email, just roll with it. But I'm just letting you know you're going to probably get a better response rate on that option of cold calling, but text messaging is better than both.
How does that compare to looking at CAP rate, NOI, etc.? How do you evaluate multi-units?
All right, Sierra from Facebook says she says when evaluating multifamily, see if it's a great deal or not. She was told about the 1% rule, but how does that compare to cap rates and the NOI? How do you evaluate multi-units? Yeah, I use cap rates and NOIs, and for you all that don't know what that means, you have cap rate, which is short for capitalization rate. The easiest way to look at that, if you put some money in the bank over the course of a year, what would the interest produce you as for the additional return on your money? The NOI is it's short for net operating income, and that's basically the annual gross expense. Annual gross income subtracting the annual gross expenses. That gives you the net operating income, also known as NOI. And that tells you basically how much money you're making, basically. And that's what it tells you. And so where the capitalization rate is, or the cap rate is used, if you take the NOI and someone gives you a price, you divide the NOI by that price, and that gives you the cap rate. And that's how most investors evaluate whether they have a good deal or not on a multifamily property. Some people like to buy based on that, and also what other multifamily units have sold per door. That's somewhat of a comp situation. So people do it different ways, though. But that 1% rule, I'm not even sure what that is. So.
All right. Someone asked, do I need to send a termination letter if I cancel the contract?
Well, ideally, that'll be the proper way of doing it. A mutual agreement of release is also what it's called, or a cancellation agreement. So.
Okay. How do I wholesale version under 18, the age of 18?
Under the age of 18, well, if you're under the age of 18, that means you probably can't sign an agreement sign a contract legally. And so you need to partner with someone of age. And maybe that partner that you're partnering with is can also be used as your boots on the ground in the market, whatever you're trying to target virtually, because you're going to need that. Either a friend or family member, another wholesaler, or maybe a real estate agent. But you're going to need someone to help you with some of the grunt work where you can't be there. Now, that doesn't also have to be the person that signs on your behalf on your part of the deal. It could be, again, a parent, sibling, cousin, family member, whatever, a friend, whoever that's of age. So you can just master and become an expert on this content, and you be the brains behind the operation until you can do your own thing legally as far as signing agreements.
Okay. Someone asked, how do I get in contact with the owner of the property instead of the agent?
Someone asks, how can they get in contact with the owner of the property instead of the agent? You don't want to do that. If it's listed with a real estate agent, that means that owner hired that real estate agent to handle this business for them. Just period. You know what I'm saying? If I hire an attorney to do something for me, I don't need the company calling me. No, you need to talk to my attorney or whatever, or another attorney. Don't call me. Talk to the attorney, the person that I hired to do the job. So no, you don't want to do that. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole.
I think this is the host on YouTube. He said, do you buy rental properties? In other words, are you a cash buyer in Alabama, or do you just stick to wholesale? Let's just talk about this.
Yeah, Yusuf is asking, do I buy rental property? In other words, are you a cash buyer in Alabama, or do you just stick to wholesaling? I occasionally buy a property or two, but it's normal just for me to just go ahead and buy it. I may have found a buyer in time, but I still think I can sell it or whatever. That rarely happens. But I have done the fix and flip thing. Actually got one we're trying to get rid of now. Got an inspection today on it, actually. And then the rental thing, done that also. Really not my thing. Wholesaling fits my personality. I got a lot of flaws, and it doesn't expose as many of them or whatever. So.
All right, John Doe wants to know how to find probate properties.
How to find probate properties? Well, depending on your county, you can go down there and talk to one of the lovely young ladies or individuals, might be a male, at the counter and ask them, how do you get the list? Or you can go to YouTube and do a search for Flipman Probates, and I have an expert there. A couple of interviews with my man, I think his name Chris, I forget, with all the leads, and he'll explain exactly how they can actually send you a list every month. Also, they offer a ton of support on what to do and how to handle probate leads. So just go to YouTube and do a search for Flipman Probates. And if you didn't know, Flipman is 2 words.
All right, this is from Jean-Claude Rainey. YouTube, he said, when you guys put money into escrow, the earnest money deposit, do you put in the seller's name or the escrow company's name?
All right, so Jean-Claude Rainey said, when you put earnest money into escrow, the MD, do you put it in the seller's name or the escrow company name? If you're writing out a check, then you're writing out a check to the person that can cash it, which will be the escrow company / title company. I guess you could write it in the seller's name. It wouldn't really matter. But ideally, you would write it in their name and just say, for John the seller.
All right. Someone said, I thought it was illegal to taste people without permission.
Well, that's why you need to watch my video on text to flip, because these brilliant guys over at Batch Leads have figured out a way legally, FCC compliant, on how to text people in that manner. That's why you need to watch the video. I'm like my mom used to tell me. Well, I can't say I might tell you something wrong, but she would say, so, I ain't gonna tell you nothing wrong. I'm not gonna be as direct with her. She has some authority behind hers that I had to listen. you all don't have to listen.
All right, is Nashville a hot city?
Huh?
Is Nashville a hot city?
Oh, most definitely. Yes. Most definitely. Oh my God, yes.
All right, also,
Is Nashville a hot city? Yes.
someone also asked, how do you get the ARV of a home with 5 acres?
Someone asked, how do you get the ARV of a house with 5 acres? Now, if it's a situation where if they're Compton area and most houses are sitting on large lots like that, it's simple. If it's a situation, 5 acres is a lot. Now that's possible though. Now, if it's a situation where it's still in a heavily populated area and most of the lots are not even a half an acre, but they're just sitting on 5 acres, I'm evaluating that house based on what other houses are selling for. The acreage is another negotiation in itself. So I'm gonna comp it like the like houses. You know, if the house next door is like most of the houses in that neighborhood or in that radius, then that's what I'm going to use as the comp, right? And then we'll negotiate up a little bit because of the 5 acres and whatever else with that house. So.
All right. How do you wire transfer under 18? Do you give your bank information or parents?
That's one of those good problems. I think you can have a bank account at 18. So your bank, you walk in, hey, I want to wire some money, you know, or if you're receiving a wire, which is better, you just provide your routing number, bank account number. They probably want the address of your bank, phone number for your bank, which is all Googleable, and obviously your name, boom.
How do you know when a market is saturated? I live in Denver.
Not possible. Not possible. He said, how do you know when a market is saturated? He said he lives in Denver. Not possible. And the other question was, they were 18. How do they receive a bank wire, send a bank wire? That's what I was answering.
All right, this is from Kima63 on YouTube. She said, hello, Flipman. Once I have a contract with the seller and buyer, do I, the investor, send copies or the original contract to the title company or copies along with the closing detail sheet?
Okay, what were their names?
Kima63.
Kima63 is basically asking, once they have a seller on the contract and they have a buyer in the contract, what do they send to the title company? I have a video uploaded a couple of weeks ago, how do I get paid? And that's basically going through the process. When you do have a seller in the contract, you do have a cash buyer in the contract, what you submit to the title company or closing attorney. I have what I call a closing detail sheet or closing instruction sheet. I just made it available for free on my YouTube channel. I'm sorry, on my website, digulator.com. If you go watch that video, Flipman, how do you get paid? And that should be a recent video about 2 weeks ago. Then just watch that video and it's going to walk you through that entire process or whatever. And then again, that form is free on my site, such as same as the contract at digulator.com. All right, so you got some more? Okay, you good. What? Okay, well, yeah, we're going in. So guys, I think we've been going almost an hour here. Yeah, that's good. I really appreciate everyone watching today. Remember, you can access my free contract at just doing a YouTube search at Flipman 2021 contract, and that video shows you how to fill it out for a seller, for a cash buyer, and also how to get it signed in just 3 clicks. Click, click, click. If you want to partner with me and you have a property under contract, you're dealing directly with the owner, it's a great deal and it's off market, please, 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 you can submit it to digulator.com and we can get this money together. So again, if you're on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, YouTube. Please subscribe there. Literally, I know you don't believe me, some of you do, that everything you need to know is right there on my YouTube channel. So you literally have nothing to lose when the knowledge and training is free.
If y'all didn't get your question answered, you can ask it in any YouTube video because he's sure to answer those. And then this video will be up on Instagram and on YouTube after we get done. So you can also ask there and you can watch this back. Or you can slide it in. It's up to you. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Music.
Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Hit that bag.